Hey, hi, hello, I'm christenareckless and welcome back to my page. I'm so happy to be here today sharing these Reddit stories with you. I think they're so much fun, and so far I think you think they're fun. If you don't, let me know. I might change it up. I might not, because I still like them, but I am here for you, and if you don't like it, we can change it up, I suppose. We have an update to one of the previous stories that I've read in the first 2 episodes. I'm excited to read this update. I remember the story very well. Hopefully you do too. If you don't, you can pause here and go to my previous video with the Reddit story titled, "Am I the asshole for humiliating my ex's new girlfriend in front of our friend group?" Because that is the update that we have, and that's what we're starting with. Without further ado, here we go. Now, we can start. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up as much as it did. Thank you for all of your support, understanding, and kind comments. First of all, I want to apologize if the redaction in the original post wasn't the best. English is not my first language, and I kind of wrote it in the heat of the moment, which is understandable. That's the best time to do it, in my opinion. Second of all, my ex left the friend group and took his new girl with him. Good riddance. After a final attempt at making me apologize, he left the chat through a long paragraph of text and a block to every single person involved. Like you said, good riddance. That must be a relief. The 2 ex-friends who asked me to apologize to him followed suit. I'm not surprised in the slightest, since they've been his friends longer than they've been mine. I will admit, I'm a bit heartbroken about it, but I'll get over it. I get that. Ending friendships that you value, it's tough, but you needed to let these friends go because they did not have your back. And friends have your fucking back. Of course, my ex DM'd me to call me an immature bitch one last time. Of course he did. Classy. Real classy. Then proceeded to block me as well. I'm honestly fine with that. You know, it could be just a small price to pay to get them out of your life. Now for some clarifications on the original post. Yeah, I admit the screaming match was very immature and impolite of us. I don't want to make excuses, but after a whole day at the con, we were all tired, hungry, and very annoyed. Emotions were running high, and we behaved very immaturely. Thankfully, the particular place is used to dealing with con attendees and weren't too harsh on us. We did leave a big tip as an apology. That's nice. That's a nice thing to do, especially after, making a scene in their establishment. That was nice of you. To everyone asking if I'll post the cosplay, I'm flattered, but while I believe I've become a bit more confident in my skills, I don't think I'm ready to blast it to thousands of people on the internet just yet. Maybe I'll upload something to my main account at some point, but definitely not here. I get it. It's totally up to you. It's your comfortability. Everyone else's opinions and wants and needs. Keep that in mind. Take care of yourself first. Just in case anyone wants to know what the screaming match scene looked like, only 5 people out of the 11 were wearing regular clothes. The other were all in cosplay. Viper, myself, OP, Chamber, 2 Mikus, a Kava from Genshin. I've never seen that. I don't think I said that right. And a friend's OC. Oh, cool, an original character. Again, thank you all, and sorry if you were expecting a bit more of a dramatic update. I'll reach out if anything more interesting happens, though I really doubt it. See ya. Oh boy. Yeah, of course you couldn't just have like a peaceful exit. I've had exes like that. I do not wish them on anybody. I think that you handled it pretty well, despite the screaming match. If we're not considering that, then yes, you handled this very well, and you did exactly what I would have done. Actually, I probably would have blocked them first, but that's just me. I'm a bit faster to pull the trigger on things like that. Alright, let's see if there's any relevant comments. Why go to the con if they hated it so much in the first place? Isn't cosplay a huge part of it? It's like going to a Halloween party and calling everyone an attention seeker. She was really a pick-me. Good riddance to everyone putting you down. This clash was inevitable in the long run because of her insecurities. Also, sad about your ex's personality change. That's interesting. Yes, cosplays are almost essential at cons. There are conventions where it's not common or normal to dress up, but most conventions, I feel like, yeah, you can find a reason to dress up, and most people do. At least most people with whimsy. Another relevant comment, and the lesson here would be that 9 out of 10 times, it's not a great call to stay in a friend group with your ex. That's probably the main takeaway from this. That's a great piece of advice. I don't think I've ever personally done that, but I can see how it might not be productive in the slightest. Right on. Well, I'm glad things ended up working out in their own way for her. Do you remember this story? And if you do, what's your opinion on it? Do you think she did the right thing? Do you think that the ex was an asshole? Because I do. Again, the verdict is not the asshole. Here we go with another one. Would I be the asshole if I removed a hedge because my neighbor keeps demanding that I pay to maintain it? Interesting. It always sucks to have a neighbor like that. I live on a corner lot. We have one neighbor directly behind us and another to the side. Instead of a fence around our backyard, there's a large hedge that was already there when we bought the house. It was planted by the previous owners. Okay, so I'm hearing it is your hedge? Part of the hedge runs along the property line with the neighbors behind us, part runs along the side neighbor's property, and the third side faces the road. We don't regularly have the hedge professionally maintained because it honestly stays in pretty good shape. We usually only get it trimmed every 3 to 4 years when it starts looking overgrown. The issue is that the neighbor behind us constantly asks us to trim it. Her latest complaint is that it's supposedly attracting raccoons. For the record, I haven't seen raccoons in our yard and don't really understand why the hedge would be causing a raccoon problem in the first place. That's a good point. I also don't see how those two things could be connected or correlated in any manner. Weird thing to complain about. She also insists that the hedge is entirely on our property. I'm not actually sure if that's true since it was installed before we bought the house. And because of that, she says we would be responsible for 100% of the maintenance costs. Every time we've paid to have it trimmed, it's basically been because she complained enough that we gave in, not because we thought it needed it. I don't know. I thought you said that you got it trimmed when it starts looking overgrown. That's not really matching up, buddy old pal, old friend OP. Okay. We'll keep going. Another factor is that we don't really have much use for the hedge ourselves anymore. We don't have any pets, and all of our kids moved out, so we don't need a large enclosed backyard or a big privacy barrier the way we might have years ago. If the hedge wasn't already there when we bought the house, I probably wouldn't choose to install something like it myself. She's pressuring us again because family is coming to visit and she wants the hedge trimmed before they arrive. Still, she doesn't want to contribute anything towards the costs. I don't think that she should be the one dictating the schedule for when your property gets maintained. It is your property, after all. I don't think that you need to spare the money to get it trimmed because her family is coming to visit. That's not your problem. That is her problem. They don't have to go in her backyard. At this point, I'm wondering if it would be easier to just remove the hedge entirely. If it's truly on my property and I'm expected to keep paying a few $100s every time she decides it needs maintenance, then I'd rather not have it at all. The thing is, she doesn't have a fence on her side. The hedge effectively acts as a privacy barrier between our properties, so technically she's been benefiting from it too. If I remove it, there would be no barrier there, which I'm honestly fine with, but I also think she'd be upset if the hedge disappeared completely. Well, too bad. So sad. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm not threatening to remove it to get back at her or anything. Are you sure about that? I just genuinely don't see the value in continuing to spend money maintaining a feature that I don't really need, and that seems to create more conflict than benefit. So would I be the asshole if I just remove the hedge instead of continuing to pay to maintain it whenever my neighbor wants it trimmed? I think that removing the hedge is the option to go with here, but I don't think that you're being completely honest when you said that you aren't doing it to get back at her or anything. I do think the other things you listed, like you don't want to be spending money to maintain it, you don't really need it, I think those are valid, but I also think that there's a little bit of you, a little part of you, that's doing it just to get back at her. Which, that is your right, it's your property, you can do whatever you want, but don't lie to me, and don't lie to the internet, and don't lie to yourself. You know what I mean? The verdict is not the asshole, apparently. I think there's a little bit of assholeness there, if you ask me. And you are asking me, well, maybe you're not, but I'm reading your story and I'm giving my advice. So, the top comment says, "No, I will not be having the hedge trimmed. Feel free to maintain your side as you see fit. Repeat as often as needed, not the asshole." That's a good way to go. I do think that you could save money if you learned how to do it yourself, but if she's the one with the problem, she could learn how to do it and make her side look pretty and kept. I think there are bigger problems to have as well. This isn't too bad of a situation to be in. I do think your neighbor is going to be upset if you remove it, but I think that's the right thing to do. If she needs something in between your property and hers, she can be the one to put a fence up or another barrier of some sort. It's not on you. Not the asshole. I've decided. Still on the Reddit /Am I the Asshole thread, we're going with this one. Am I the asshole for yelling back? Interesting. Let's see. We'll see. I, 23 female, and my husband, 25 male, just welcomed our first baby. Aw, congratulations. That's exciting. My husband was awake and on his feet for nearly 2 days straight helping me through labor. Wow. Champions, both of you. As someone that's been through that, kudos to you. You deserve an award. More than just newborn baby puke all over you. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have said that. My bad. We do love newborns, but they're messy. They are messy. For context, my husband suffered a severe spine injury when he was 17. Oh no, that's really young. That's sad. Standing or sitting in one position for long periods caused him extreme pain. He pushed himself so hard to support me that his legs went completely numb and he could barely walk. That's some dedication. Wow. It has been a week since this happened, and his legs are still numb in spots and incredibly sore. I can imagine. Once things finally calmed down and I was able to rest after getting an epidural, I told my husband to sit down and rest in the guest chair for his own health and safety. We both fell asleep. Okay, good, you got some rest. An hour later, my sister, 18 female, walked into the room. Instead of being quiet, she immediately started demanding that my husband get up and be there for me. My husband and I both tried to explain his physical state, but she wouldn't listen to a word we said. She just kept yelling at him. I was exhausted and furious that she was bringing this stressful energy into the room. I snapped and told her to shut up. I told her that he had been with me for every single second up to that point, and that I was the one who told him to sit down for his own health. You tell her. It is a pet peeve of mine when someone comes into a situation thinking they know what's going on when they absolutely have no fucking clue. So yes, I probably would have reacted the same way. I understand that I shouldn't have snapped at her, but in the heat of the moment, it was really just poor timing and really hard not to do. Now my sister is refusing to speak to me. She claims I was rude and inconsiderate to her when she was just trying to help. My parents tried to tell her that she's completely overreacting, but she refuses to listen to them either. She is still digging in her heels and demanding an apology from me. From my perspective, for her, helping was just yelling at my husband and refusing to listen to either of us. Am I the asshole for telling her to shut up? You're not going to want to hear this. Yes, you are the asshole. I'm not saying that there were many options for you in that situation, especially if she wasn't listening, but you could have tried to reason with her. You could have let her yell, and as soon as she was done yelling, you could have said, "Sister, that's not what's going on. He just needs some rest. He's not in great condition, but he has been here for me. I appreciate you trying to help, but this is what we're doing right now because it's best for both of us. We're both resting." I do think that you owe her an apology. I think that she also might need to apologize to you, but you should be the one to start it because you are the one that got confrontational. I mean, she was a little confrontational, hear me out, she was a little confrontational when she came, but she honestly thought she was doing the right thing, which is why I think that this situation can be fixed with an apology on your behalf. This is still a newer Reddit story. It's only been posted 4 hours ago as of right now. There is not a verdict yet. I do see a lot of not the assholes in the comments, but I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that it's about 50-50. I think you are 50% the asshole, and I think your sister is also 50% the asshole, and that you both need to work on that you both need to apologize. There is a relevant comment here that says, "Not the asshole. Your sister sounds like she was acting a bit entitled, and if nobody has her side, she should recognize that she was in the wrong here. She's lucky you even permitted her in the room." Yes, I get that. Yes, but this sister is 18. That is so young. That is still a child to me. She thought she knew what was going on. She was just trying to help you, OP. And when you yelled at her, she took that personally, you know? She didn't mean it for her actions to be personal, but you meant your actions to be personal. So I get being upset and not wanting to hear it right now. So, yeah. Like I said, you and your sister, both assholes. You can fix it though. Just apologize. Alright, and for the last Reddit story of the day, we're gonna go with one about a dog. Who doesn't love dogs? Well, you'd be surprised. Let's find out. Am I the asshole for telling a special needs regular that nobody wants to hear about how he treats his dog? Maybe. That's not a great opening line if you ask me. But I'm not gonna judge yet. We'll save that for after. I bartend at a very popular local bar that has a lot of regulars. There is a nearby special needs community, and many of its residents come into the bar. Most of them are friendly, easy customers, and I genuinely don't mind talking with them. One regular in particular comes in very frequently. He is relatively independent but struggles with social cues. He often tries to hold long conversations with me while I'm working, even when I'm clearly busy serving other customers. I do my best to be polite and make him feel heard, but it can be difficult because he rarely notices when I need to move on. I mean, he's special needs. What do you want from him? A lot of his conversations revolve around wanting a girlfriend, and some of the things he says can make female staff and customers uncomfortable. Ooh, okay, alright, I usually try to redirect the conversation or tell him directly when something he's saying is inappropriate. The bigger issue is that he frequently tells me stories about teasing his dog. He has described things like pretending to give the dog food and then pulling it away, or fake charging at the dog to scare it because he thinks it's funny. Whenever he brings this up, I tell him that I don't think it's okay and that it's not funny. The other day, during a very busy shift, he started talking about his dog again. After hearing these stories many times before, I got frustrated and told him, nobody wants to hear about that. He looked upset afterward. A customer who knows he has a disability, but didn't know the context of the conversation, later told me I should have been kinder. Am I the asshole? I feel like we're missing a bit of context. Like you said, this person is special needs, which I understand, but there are levels to that, and some special needs people aren't as, their symptoms aren't as strong as other special needs people. I think that there was a better way to handle this. If he is teasing his dog like that, like he said he was, I do think that you should make a report. I don't think he should be having a dog in this case. I also don't think you should have responded to him like that. I think that even special needs people can have a conversation, and maybe they don't pick up on social cues, but having a conversation with them and saying, hey, look, I understand that you really want to talk about your dog, but some of the things you say crosses the line. Please don't say these things in front of the female coworkers. And also, look, I get busy. I can't talk to you every time you want me to talk to you. If I can, I'll make time for you. But don't be surprised if I can't make time for you sometimes. I don't think he's the asshole. I think you're the asshole in this situation. Having special needs doesn't excuse making other people uncomfortable, especially the opposite gender. But if you're only uncomfortable because they're special needs, that's a different story. Pretty ableist, actually. I do think you should have been kinder. I don't know what you want me to say. You should have been kinder. I think there were many ways to communicate what you wanted to say, and you didn't have to do it that way. There is a relevant comment, not the asshole. The key detail here is that you didn't tell him nobody wants to hear from you. You told him nobody wants to hear about a specific behavior that you repeatedly said isn't funny or okay. Yes, but this person's special needs. Let's say they're autistic, just to say that. Like, just as an example, let's say they're autistic. If you are aggressively saying something like, no one wants to hear about that, towards somebody with autism, they're gonna take it as, nobody wants to hear from me, at all. I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think that this commenter really understands the opposite perspective. Having a disability doesn't mean people should pretend animal mistreatment is entertaining. In fact, if he struggles with social cues, being direct is often kinder than smiling, nodding, and secretly resenting the conversation, which I agree. There's a difference between being direct and being aggressive. That said, your wording was probably harsher than necessary. Nobody wants to hear about you scaring your dog. It makes me feel sad for the dog and I don't find it funny. Gets the same point across without sounding like a rejection of him as a person. I agree. I think that could have been the perfect thing to say. The customer who criticized you was missing a lot of context. They heard one sentence. You heard the same stories over and over, had already explained why they bothered you, and you were trying to work during a busy shift. Sometimes kindness isn't pretending everything is fine. Sometimes it's being honest enough to say, no, that's not funny, and people aren't reacting the way you think they are. Again, yes, good and bad comment right here. I agree with what they said about you using different words. I don't agree with sometimes kindness isn't pretending everything is fine. That's not what you did here. That wasn't even another option that I was suggesting, that anybody would suggest. I'm suggesting that you do it a different way. I still think you're the asshole. This person shouldn't have an animal, but you shouldn't have reacted like that, so both of those things need fixed. If you ask me. And maybe you didn't, but I'm telling you anyway. So, well, there you have it. Those are our Reddit stories for today. What did you think? Did you have fun? If you disagree with any of my opinions, please let me know in the comments. I'm not going to bite your head off about it. Probably. No promises. but I still had fun doing this. So hopefully I'll see you next week. If I don't, I'll find you. But hopefully you'll be here so I don't have to do that. Okay? Alright. I love you. Do me a favor and stay reckless.